Good afternoon, everyone. It's that Principal's Pitch time again. It's Thursday afternoon. Tomorrow we have Bermuda Day. So wishing you a very happy Bermuda Day. I hope you have a wonderful long weekend. If you're running the marathon, all the best. If you're watching the Bermuda Day parade, no doubt it'll be fantastic and enjoyable. Cuisine, friends, family over the weekend, and even maybe getting in the water. So I hope you have a wonderful time. We'll definitely look forward to seeing everyone back on Monday and hear their stories about the weekend. Just one note, next week we are looking to announce our tuition. We're looking to get that announcement out on Monday, so please look out for a letter from me, which I'll be sending out via email, and that'll help you start planning towards next year. Straight back into it. This is week 4 with Mr. Thorpe in the room. So nice to have you back here, Mark. We carry on with our sort of word game we'll be playing with regards to education. So my word for you today is pathways.
Ooh, pathways. Yeah. So when we think of pathways, we're thinking about the curriculum flexibility that we've been trying to build in, and as you know, Dave, we've been working on this for a number of years and kind of developing what we've kind of been doing. And what we're kind of really looking at is, not every student is going to be the same, and not every student requires the same kind of curriculum. So we're trying to build in these kind of options throughout the school that allow them to kind of, work on their kind of strengths or where they kind of need their kind of support. So if we start with lower secondary, we look at middle school. Our middle school is intentionally broad, balanced curriculum. Our students are doing, on average, 12 to 14 subjects over the year. It's designed to introduce them to a whole range of new subjects. So you've got, for example, some of the creative arts ones that they've never done before. So the science ones in a lab, which is good.
Drama.
So those subjects they've not had a chance that they're going to have to see, whether they really enjoy them. And that's going to hopefully give them an idea about, as they go forward, what subjects do they think they're possibly going to want to do in the future. As they go through middle school, there's a little bit of a choice as they get to year 9. So year 9, they can start to whittle down the number of creative arts they do. They can start to focus. So, for example, do they want to focus on art, design technology, or food and nutrition?
Yeah.
And then we also offer a kind of a music program that goes through all through middle school. And then also with languages. So with languages, our students do both French and Spanish in year 7 and year 8. When they get to year 9, they're choosing French or Spanish. That's the one they're going to do a bit more of a deep dive into. Yeah. But there is an opportunity for those students who are very good at languages to continue with both languages if they want to. And that sets them up nicely for the GCSE curriculum. So when they come to do their GCSEs, there are some core subjects they're going to have to do. It's obvious that everyone has to do English. They have to do maths. And what we say is, on top of that, you have to continue with your French or Spanish. You have to do a science. You have to do a humanity. And you're going to round it out with the subjects that you want to do. So if you're a bit more practical focused, you might choose some PE and some practical arts. If you're a bit more humanities focused, you might choose some geography, history, some economics and business. Yeah. If you're science, there's an option for you to do all 3 sciences.
Program there.
Where students can do all 3 without impacting the number of choices they can do in other subjects. If you want to do a bit of specialist music, you can do that. And then also kind of running through the whole kind of middle school, high school is we've got this sports performance program, which I don't know if you want to say a few words about that.
So no, that was, again, trying to give that flexibility and broaden a little bit about what we offer, give students more options. They're getting to that age where they're thinking about sports, something they want to take a bit more serious, like music or some of the academics, the sciences. So try to build that in to complement the offering.
Yeah. And then when they get to sixth form, there's a number of pathways that they can do. So we have a number of kind of entry requirements. It's more kind of a guidelines as to what's going to be the most suitable pathway for you. So, if you're in that kind of 5, GCSE passes, you're looking at probably the IB careers program, which is our BTEC vocational subject with a couple of IB subjects, and that's very flexible because you can pick and choose what you want to do. If you want something that doesn't involve the vocational BTEC, you could look at IB individual subjects.
Yeah.
Great degree of flexibility in there as well because you've got English, you've got maths, you've got sciences, you've got humanities, you've got foreign languages. Lots of options that you can use to build out your subjects. 40 odd subjects that you can choose to build out your essentially your high school diploma. And then for the students who are students who want to be pushed hard, we've got the IB diploma program where that's going to be accepted by any top university worldwide. You're doing English, maths, French or Spanish as a science, humanity as 6 subject, rounded out with theory of knowledge, extended essay, CAS requirements. It's a phenomenal kind of achievement if you manage to pass the IB diploma. But I think for us, what's really important is that although we might see the IB diploma as the gold standard in education, it's not the best pathway.
Absolutely.
The best pathway is the one which is going to be most appropriate
Absolutely.
for you. So you work out what's going to be the best pathway for you, what's going to get you to where you want to go to in your next step. So as an example from our graduating class last year, we had a student who didn't do IB diploma, did individual subjects, and still got into Bristol University.
Yeah. And I think you really important point, though, just pausing on that and saying, we've worked incredibly hard at changing the narrative around how you view certain academic pathways. As you said, it's about the best or the most appropriate for that particular student and how we can get them into incredibly good universities. You just mentioned Bristol, but I think we've seen that success, haven't we, across the three, four, depending on which way you cut some of them, the four different pathways on offer.
Yeah, and it's been very popular with our students and parents. And in fact, if you look at some of the other schools, they're starting to use the pathway word. Sometimes you feel a bit like, well, they're pinching some of our ideas, but I think, was it Oscar Wilde who said, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. When other schools start copying what you do, then I think we're doing something right.
And it's good for students. I think it's really healthy. So no. Thanks, Mark. I know you've been a big part of, you and I've walked this walk for a number of years, and it is pleasing to see where it is.
Yeah, it's taken, I think, good 7 or 8 years to kind of, develop some of these pathways, but, I think it's in a good place.
Definitely. All right, come on.
So
what do you
your
got for
turn.
me?
So what's your thoughts on homework?
Oh, yeah, homework, hot potato topic, one that's always a question. Often prospective parents will ask you what your philosophy is around homework, and I think probably the best way to put it is we don't want homework given for homework's sake. It's not just about giving it because you've got to give it. It's about making sure that when homework is given, there is a real purpose, and that purpose is normally linked to a lesson outcome or objective, and progress that the student's making. So it's a reinforcing tool. It's a progressive tool, but it's not given for homework's sake. We don't just do it because we want them to do busy work. That's another term. So what do we do to try and get that right? It's a culture. We talk to staff about how best to deliver homework. We have homework schedules, especially in our middle school and high school homework schedules, likewise in primary, about when homework is delivered, how long it should be. We try and modularize it so it doesn't become overwhelming. All the subjects on one night is never a good thing. We spread it out. And that's not to say that, again, it's not given for homework's sake. The teacher doesn't have to give a homework because English is on a Monday. We encourage reading. We build that into our kind of expectation. We want students to read. So, homework has a purpose. It's not given just because it's given. And we see the results of kind of the other side of homework, which is students that can develop a way of working. They're organized. They're able to sort of manage their time well. And again, we recognise, massively the involvement of our students outside of school, whether it's community service or sports, music, drama, other things around the island. We want them to do those things. We don't want homework to be the death knell of what they can do. So it's kind of creating that balance. And no doubt, as they move up the school, it gets a little bit more strenuous. There's more expectation on it. But that also is life, and there's that lesson in that as well. But I think our philosophy, again, is that idea of we don't give it for homework's sake.
Yeah. It's a very emotive subject.
Very.
You ask 100 parents what they think about homework, and some will think we give too much, and some will say we don't give enough. And trying to find that balance is really important because, as you say, we want our students to be well-rounded individuals who are doing those things outside of school that make them who they are, and we don't want them just to be doing homework all the time. It's got to be appropriate, that enhances what's going on in the classroom, and it's not just a homework for the sake of homework's sake.
Yeah. No, Mark. Appreciate that, and thanks again for coming in today. I think we might do one more before the end of term.
Squeeze one more in.
Squeeze one more in. All right. Thanks very much. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.